You want her back? Then stop chasing her, because the version of you that begs, that texts first every night, that over-explains, that tries to fix everything is the exact version she walked away from. Let that sink in. She didn't leave because you loved too little. She left because somewhere along the way, you stopped being the man she couldn't figure out, the man she respected, the man who had a life bigger than just her. And now you think the solution is to try harder? No. The solution is to become someone she can't ignore. Listen carefully. Women don't come back because you ask them to. They come back because they feel something they can't replace. And right now, you're too available, too predictable, too easy to access. There's no mystery left, no challenge, no emotional tension. You've made her the center of your world. And in doing that, you removed yourself from your own. That's where you lost. So what do? You disappear, but not in weakness. You step back with power. You stop texting first. You stop checking her social media. You stop trying to prove your worth to someone who already decided to walk away. And instead, you rebuild. You hit the gym not to impress her, but to reclaim yourself. You focus on your purpose, your money, your discipline. You surround yourself with growth, not desperation. Because here's the truth most men can't handle. She doesn't miss the man who needs her. She misses the man who doesn't need anyone. When you shift into that energy, everything changes. Now she starts wondering, why isn't he reaching out? Who is he becoming? Did I lose someone valuable? And that curiosity, that tension, that's what pulls her back, not your paragraphs, not your apologies, not your late night I miss you texts. Your absence with purpose is louder than anything you could say. And when she comes back, and she will, if you do this right, you don't fall back into old patterns. You don't reward her for leaving. You don't overcommit too fast. You stay grounded, centered, focused. Because this isn't about getting her back. It's about becoming the man she's afraid to lose again. Remember this, attraction grows in space, respect grows in silence, and desire grows when she feels like she might not have you anymore. So if you really want her back, stop trying to pull her in and become the man she chases without you even trying. Stop chasing her. That instinct inside you, the urge to reach out, to fix things, to prove your worth, feels powerful, but it's actually the very thing destroying your chances. Every message you send when she's pulling away doesn't bring her closer. It confirms that you're already emotionally invested at a level where she no longer has to work for your attention. And when there's nothing left to earn, nothing left to figure out, attraction quietly fades. Understand this clearly. Attraction isn't built on constant availability. It's built on curiosity, on uncertainty, on emotional contrast. When you chase, you remove all of that. You make yourself predictable. You make your presence guaranteed. And once she feels like she fully has you without effort, the emotional excitement that once existed begins to disappear. But stopping the chase isn't just about ignoring her or playing games. It's about redirecting your energy back to where it always should have been yourself. Because the version of you that she was drawn to in the beginning wasn't desperate for validation. That version of you had direction, focus, and a life that didn't revolve around her. Somewhere along the way, you shifted. You made her your priority while slowly abandoning your own growth, your own mission, your own edge. That's what needs to change. When you stop chasing, you create space. And in that space, something powerful happens. You begin to rebuild your identity, not as someone trying to win her back, but as someone who is leveling up regardless of who stays or leaves. You start focusing on your discipline, your habits, your physical presence, your financial goals, your mindset. You become sharper, calmer, more controlled, and most importantly, you become less emotionally reactive. That shift is everything. Because now you're no longer operating from fear of losing her, you're operating from strength. And strength is attractive in a way that words can't replicate. It shows in how you carry yourself, in how you respond or don't respond, in how you prioritize your time. You're no longer trying to convince her of your value. You're building a life that naturally reflects it. And here's the irony. The moment you genuinely stop chasing is the moment she starts noticing the absence. Not because you disappeared out of weakness, but because your energy changed. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer easily accessible. And that triggers something deep: curiosity, reflection, even doubt on her side. She begins to wonder why you're not reacting the way she expected. She starts comparing the version of you she left with the version you're becoming. And that internal conflict is far more powerful than anything you could ever say directly. But this only works if it's real. If you're pretending not to chase while secretly waiting and watching, the energy doesn't change. The mindset stays the same, and she feels it. This is about fully detaching from the need to control the outcome. It's about accepting that your value isn't determined by whether she comes back, but by who you become in the process. When you reach that point, everything shifts. You're no longer trying to win her. You're becoming someone worth winning. Scarcity is what gives something value. When something is always available, always within reach, always predictable, it stops feeling special. The same principle applies to attraction. When you make yourself constantly accessible, replying instantly, always initiating, always being there no matter what, you unintentionally lower your perceived value. It's not because you're not enough, but because you've removed the tension that makes someone feel your importance. Attraction thrives in uncertainty. It grows in the space where someone isn't entirely sure where they stand, where they have to think about you, wonder about you, and emotionally invest to understand you. The moment everything becomes obvious, predictable, and guaranteed, that emotional engagement starts to fade. There's no more challenge, no more curiosity, no more reason to lean in. When you are always the one reaching out, always the one trying to keep the connection alive, you create an imbalance. You are giving more attention than you are receiving. And over time, that imbalance shifts the dynamic. She no longer feels the need to invest because she knows you'll carry the weight of the interaction. She doesn't have to wonder if you care. You show it constantly. And while that might seem like a good thing, it actually removes the emotional spark that comes from not fully knowing. Scarcity doesn't mean playing childish games or acting cold for no reason. It means having a life that naturally limits your availability. It means your time is valuable because it's spent building something, your goals, your discipline, your growth. When your attention is not easily given, it becomes more meaningful when it is. It carries weight, it creates impact. Think about how people react to something they might lose. The possibility of losing access creates urgency. It creates focus. It makes them pay attention in a way they didn't before. The same happens in relationships. When she feels like your presence is no longer guaranteed, when she notices that you're not as available as you once were, her perception begins to shift. She starts to recognize the space you used to fill. That space is powerful. It allows her to feel your absence instead of just hearing your words. It gives her the opportunity to reflect, to question, to wonder what changed. And those questions pull her in far more effectively than constant reassurance ever could. But this only works when it's genuine. If you're creating artificial distance while internally obsessing, the energy doesn't align. True scarcity comes from detachment, from knowing that your time, your attention, and your presence are valuable, and not everyone automatically gets full access to them. When you reach that state, your behavior naturally changes. You're not rushing to reply. You're not rearranging your life to fit someone else's schedule. You're not overextending yourself just to maintain a connection. Instead, you engage on your terms from a place of control and self-respect. And that shift is what reignites attraction. Because now, instead of being someone who is always there, you become someone who is chosen, noticed, and felt when present, and missed when absent. She doesn't miss the version of you that feels incomplete without her. That version, no matter how genuine, carries a quiet pressure. It signals that your emotional state depends on her presence, her attention, her validation. And while that might seem like love, it often feels like responsibility from her side. Instead of being drawn in, she feels the weight of being needed too much. Over time, that weight turns into distance. What she actually misses is strength. Not loud, aggressive strength, but calm, grounded independence. The kind of presence that says, I value you, but I don't rely on you to feel whole. That energy is rare, and it's powerful because it creates a connection based on desire, not dependency. When you operate from neediness, your actions change in subtle ways. You overanalyze her responses. You wait for her replies like they define your mood. You try to say the right things, do the right things, avoid mistakes, all in an effort to keep her. And without realizing it, you stop being natural. You stop being yourself. You become someone who is trying to maintain a connection instead of someone who is simply living in it. That shift is felt immediately. Even if she can't explain it, she senses the difference. The mystery fades, the confidence fades, and with it, the attraction begins to weaken because attraction is not built on someone who is afraid to lose you. It's built on someone who knows they'll be fine either way. Emotional independence doesn't mean you don't care. It means your sense of self isn't tied to another person's actions. You don't need constant reassurance to feel secure. You don't need to control the outcome to feel at peace. You trust yourself. You trust your path, and that inner stability changes how you show up. When you reach that point, you stop reacting impulsively. You don't chase when she pulls away. You don't panic when there's silence. You give space without fear because your life is full beyond just her. You have goals, routines, ambitions, and a direction that continues whether she's present or not. That's the version of you she remembers, the one who had focus, who had drive, who wasn't consumed by the relationship, but added value to it. That version is intriguing because it feels stable and unpredictable at the same time. Stable in who you are, unpredictable in the sense that your life doesn't revolve around her. And when she sees that again, when she realizes you're not ting, not chasing, not depending, it creates a shift in her perception. Now, instead of feeling like she holds all the control, she starts to question her place in your life. She starts to feel the possibility of losing you, not the certainty of having you. That's what brings the emotion back. Not your need for her, but your ability to stand strong without her. Words feel powerful in the moment. You think if you just explain yourself better, say it clearer, send one more message, express everything you feel, it will fix what's broken. But the truth is, when emotions are already imbalanced, words lose their impact. The more you talk, the less she feels. Not because your words don't matter, but because they're coming from a place of urgency instead of certainty. When someone pulls away, they're not looking for more explanation. They're observing behavior. They're feeling energy. And no matter how perfect your message sounds, it can't compete with what your actions are showing. If your actions say you're desperate, your words will be interpreted through that lens. Even sincerity starts to feel like pressure. Silence, on the other hand, creates space. And in that space, emotions have room to breathe. When you stop trying to constantly communicate, you remove the noise. You stop overwhelming the situation with explanations, defenses, and emotional reactions. What's left is something far more powerful, clarity. Silence isn't weakness. It's control. It shows that you're not reacting impulsively, that you're not trying to force an outcome, that you're comfortable enough with yourself to step back and let things unfold without interference. The kind of restraint is rare, and it immediately shifts how you are perceived. When you keep talking, you give away all your thoughts. There's nothing left to wonder about. No mystery, no curiosity, no unanswered questions. But when you choose silence, you create a gap, and the human mind naturally tries to fill that gap. She starts thinking about what you're doing, why you're quiet, what changed. That internal dialogue becomes far more impactful than anything you could have said directly. Silence also changes your internal state. Instead of focusing on how to respond, what to say next, or how to keep the conversation alive, you redirect that energy inward. You become more aware, more grounded, more in control of your emotions. You're no longer reacting, you're choosing. And that shift reflects in everything, from your tone to your presence. It also reveals the truth of the situation. When you stop initiating, stop chasing conversations, stop trying to maintain constant contact, You see clearly whether she reaches out or not. You no longer guessing or hoping. You're observing reality, and that clarity protects your self-respect. But silence only works when it's genuine. If you're silent on the outside but restless on the inside, constantly checking your phone, waiting for a message, the effect is lost within you. True silence is not just the absence of words. It's the absence of need. It's being at peace whether she reaches out or not. And that's what makes it powerful, because now your silence isn't a tactic. It's a reflection of your strength. It shows that you don't need to speak to be understood, and you don't need to chase to be valued.